Welcome back, hunters. I'm SurvivalVis, and we return to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Now, today is not exactly going to be like a progress episode or showing off anything that's super new. It's more just going to be a little discussion I want to have, because, as you can see, I do have a nice big heavy bowgun on my shoulder there. I do love the look of this heavy bowgun, because it's using a frickin' ballista. But I want to talk about the differences between the heavy and the light, and also just how big of an impact the clutch claw and tenderizing really makes for how enjoyable playing the game can be. So I'm just going to eat, get ourselves set up, and then we're just going to do a couple of very easy optional quests. I'm just trying to clear out so that way I can work at getting all the optionals finished. But if there are two weapons that ever place very similarly to each other in Monster Hunter, it probably has to be the light bowgun and the heavy bowgun. I mean, they both basically share the same name, and it's mostly the same tactics. Just keep your distance, shooting from afar. The light one is just more mobile, and the heavy one, it just has a chance for shield and is a bit slower. But the clutch claw and tenderizing, I actually think I prefer the heavy bowgun compared to the light bowgun, even though I did an entire playthrough of Iceborne story using nothing but light bowguns. The reason is because a few things actually just seem to flow a lot better for the heavy bowgun, and the light one doesn't measure up enough. I'm not even talking like damage numbers, just the feel of it doesn't measure up enough. So I'm just going to do something like that, have a little bit of background gameplay going on as I talk. So, one of the things about the light bowgun is that it kind of lacks a wow factor to it. If you think about a lot of the weapons with Iceborne, or even just base world, they had something that was kind of like a wow factor. The bow's dragon piercer, the great swords. I guess you could... Technically, the shoulder charge would probably be what I classify as the wow factors because of how you can kind of brush off a lot of damage and the opportunities it can make for you. But then the true charge is also another one that is good, or the charge blades, complete discharge, the switch axes, elemental discharge. You can't get it. Just that big sort of flashy thing that you feel like you're using a super powerful and strong weapon against. Or not against, but you're using a powerful weapon that has some really awesome capabilities. The light bowgun, it really lacks that for a good identity for itself. Like, when you compare the heavy bowgun, that gives you either the Wyvern Heart or the Wyvern Snipe, which is either basically going full Rambo with a minigun, or a Super Sniper that causes miniature explosions on subsequent hits. They kind of feel like you have that visual flair to them. The light bowgun didn't have anything like that for base world. All it really had was, excuse me while I fart out a mine, that is dependent on me luring the monster there and it doing a powerful attack on it, and it not actually using any ranged attack to cancel it out or trigger a blast. The Wyvern Blast, that's it, I think. The Wyvern Blast is such a... It's not even situational, but it's more just... You don't actually have that much control over it. Like, you have to really put in effort to make the Wyvern Blast even get you results. Oh, look at that, already got a part break. Whereas when it comes to, like, the heavy bowgun, like, here's a prime example, in just a moment. Normally with the light bowgun, I would have done the triple strike with the claw and then into a wall, and then have to clutch on to get the... Ow. That kind of hurt, and I should have just taken that with the shield, but the light bowgun, the flow of it is much different than the heavy bowgun when it comes to tenderizing. I would have had to do that leap off attack, and then it would have been tenderized. Which, although it doesn't sound too bad, the single attack to make a part tender, like this is prime example. Watch this, just one on. Use the weapon attack, and it's tenderized. And I can... It just seems to be so much smoother flowing than the light bowgun, where you have to do at least 2 strikes in order to get the tenderize effect to go off. And then as... Ooh. I mean, the damage numbers are kind of nice to see, but that's not even the big thing. It's more just the flow of the battle, because this is basically just the same as light bowgun play right here. I'm just keeping my distance, shooting off what ammos I have. I will sneak in for another unload. God, it's so much more fun than the light bowgun. We'll take that with the shield. Right, where was I? I'm getting a little lost in the battle a bit, but it's just, it flows so much better when you only have to do the basic... It's gatekeeping in a way, where until you actually tenderize the monster, you're not getting the full damage off that you could, and you kind of feel penalized for it, especially on certain monsters. Like, take Rajang, or Rajang, however it's pronounced. Unless you actually have the tail tenderized, you can't knock it out of the rampage mode early. And the only way you can really tenderize the tail once it gets into rampage mode is by having the temporal mantle on. So it almost is forcing you both to use the temporal mantle and to tenderize that part. Another good example, Savage Devil Joe. If you're a gunner, he does not have a weak point until you get a part break or you tenderize it. And because Savage is almost always enraged, it's very, very annoying to try getting the means to being able to knock him out of that. Unless you can... Actually, I think it's basically you have to do a certain amount of damage even to open up that sort of stagger you'll do where you can send him rolling onto his side. I will try tenderizing the face again. But it's so much easier to tenderize with this than it is the light bowgun. And it changes the flow of the game so... just incredibly so. I think if you want to improve Iceborne for feel, you have to give the light weapons one-hit tenderize like the heavies have. The difference is just the damage numbers that go through alongside that. Uh-oh. I hate when they run along the walls. Just change the damage values, and the game will probably be a lot more fun all around for all the weapons, because multiplayer, you probably won't notice it if you have multiple people doing the tenderizing, but in single player, you definitely will feel the slog that it is to just get the parts tenderized. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh. Yeah, we're both using our little ballistas right now. And don't. Uh-oh. There keep... Oh, managed to just sidestep that, I suppose. So, I am still pretty new to using the heavy bowguns. I've always found them too slow, but in comparison now to the light bowgun, it's just more enjoyable. The battle flows a little bit more smoothly, because you have the option of just being able to so quickly tenderize a part and go right back into the fight there. You don't have to try to look for openings, because their tenderizing is just the one off and you're good. And of course, who doesn't love the... Oh shoot, I thought I would have... Well, that hurt a little bit. Yeah, we'll have to change that out. Then I will also show off the set I'm using after this quest. Ooh, there we go. Oh, well thank you. We'll go right in for another tenderize. But I'm just awestruck by how big of a difference it feels trying to use one over the other. And that it really just boils down to how the clutch claw is, and the light bowgun sort of lacking just a big fun factor. Like, I will admit the evading reload the light bowgun gets is very fun to use, but it's more like a support than the wow factor I think it really needs. If I were to try improving the light bowgun, I would say give something you can use the slinger ammo alongside it with. Like, prime example is the bow's Thousand Dragons. you can load the 1,000 dragons using the slinger ammo you get from the Tenderize. The light bowgun, though, you don't get the slinger ammo to work with your weapon at all. And that's one of the things I think most of the light weapons actually do, is you have ways of using the slinger ammo in conjunction with the weapon for a special ability or a special attack that will consume the slinger ammo for it. Okay, guess I can't turn when it's coming at me for trying to block that one. Oh. Coming around, there she is. Oh, she is getting low on stamina, so actually I actually don't even feel like I'm missing out anything because there is slinger ammo. How did I... What the hell was that? Wait, where even am I right now? I'm on her leg somehow. I do not know how I got there. And that's another thing is... Well, that's an entire rant on its own about the focus on the clutch claw, but... There we go. That's her head proper. In she goes. Now let's tenderize. Yeah, is the light bowgun has to get something to use in conjunction with the slinger ammo, or give the Wyvern Blast 2 the option that when it detonates by a monster attack, it is a guaranteed flinch. It lacks that wow factor that really draws you in, and suffers with the... Oh, there we go. The effect that you need to have a... You need to tenderize to basically get the most out of any weapon, but the light bowgun, it feels like a real slog to do it because you have to... I mean, I can only speak from experience being light bowgun mostly, but the twice just really ruins the flow of the fight. If you could narrow it down to being just the single one, or single attack with the weapon and the claw is just for repositioning and trying the wall shots, I think old light weapons might feel a bit better and improved. As for something to use the slinger ammo alongside the light bowgun, maybe do it so that way it, instead of the Wyvern Blast mines you'll put down, it'll actually be like a power shot that you shoot into it and it'll do something. It has to be a bit different than the Wyvern Snipe, so I don't want to say just be like a super sticky that detonates, but it has to be something special. But I feel like that's something that the light bowgun... Playing heavy now, the light bowgun is falling very short in a lot of fields. Very, very short. Well, we'll get all this. Oh, I actually got a 4 slot. Yeah, Bomber Expert isn't bad, I suppose. So I would like to see some changes brought to the light bowgun to make it feel a little more fun, bring it in line with some of... Just kind of throw out the gatekeeping and the necessity that it is tenderizing to be for light weapons. That, I think, would help balance the game out and keep everybody a little more interested in all of the different types. No, excuse me. And I guess we're actually not too long for the episode, so we'll probably do another little hunt, just get the pink Raytheon now. So what kind of special things could we do for the light bowgun that are different enough from the heavy that you could say use the slinger ammo for? Because it can't be... It's kind of hard to figure that out. If you consider, like, the gun lance's the stake blast that it gets, or the worm stake you kind of stick into something, I actually don't know the mechanics of that, if you get that without the slinger ammo or not. I probably do not have the knowledge to be talking too greatly in depth about it, but maybe that wouldn't be a bad option. Maybe not give it something like the worm stake, but give it something mechanically similar. Like, it does create a spot where you want to try aiming your attacks and that'll cause detonations right on the monster's hide itself. But then again, is that too similar to the gun lance's thing? Oh, this is going to be tricky, because it's... You don't want to try copying what's already there to take away from anything else. But I do feel you have to add something to the light bowgun to make it a little more fun and unique. So what else could be done to it? We'll head off... Oh, shoot. We'll show off the set just before we do head to the arena next. Okay. Well, I would say almost something like Wyvern Heart, but again, you have that in the heavy bowgun, and you don't want to take away from that. And before we do head in, as I said, the little rundown for things. So it is basically a big mix of a lot of things. The Runer Nergigante heavy bowgun, its helmet and legs, the Gold Wraithian for the Divine Blessings, and just the Fell Shroud for that recovery up. As for skill-wise, we have the 2 for the Nergigante and the Gold Wraithian, level 6 crit eye, the Divine Blessing with the secret, recovery up, health boost, crit boost, weakness exploit, max might, a couple of random earplugs just to help a bit, normal shots, and then I do have special ammo on the Temporal Mantle. But I don't really like using the Temporal Mantle. In a way, to me, it does feel like cheating coming as a veteran Monster Hunter player from way back before mantles were ever a thing. But what could we do to the light bowgun to make it a little more fun or a little more interesting for its specialty? Because I really do feel... Oh, there we go, got him out right off the bat. It needs something more than Nori has. Maybe almost like a gauge mode where you can keep shooting all the ammo from your clip without having to reload, but it's a limited time, and it just kind of runs you through that ammo quicker. It takes the slinger burst, or the slinger ammo, to charge that. Could that be something? I'm almost trying to think of it like the full house from previous Monster Hunter games with it. There we go. Almost right into her. Uh-oh. I'm actually surprised we were able to get that without getting any damage. And now, like, look at how easy this is. Normally with a light bowgun, you would really be stressed in order to get that tenderize in. I actually don't think you would have been able to, because the 3 clutch claw attacks probably would have been the end of it. Although Wraithian does... Oh, if she did a charge, you would have been knocked off, but if she didn't, you probably would have been able to get it. And we can just sidestep that like a boss. Uh-oh. Ooh, managed to actually avoid that one. Like, if she charges, we'll probably get knocked off here, but... No, well, basically a gyroscope, to be honest. She did a full flip and we just kind of stood in place. So I'm trying to think of what other options would be good for the light bowgun to get. There was something that came in Generations Ultimate called the Charge Shot, which was a hunter art. It basically give you, like, a penetrating super shot for... Uh-oh. I think we're in a little bit of a bind here. There we go. Where you would charge it up, it had 3 levels. I think it was something like... I don't know the exact numbers. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been Gaijin Hunter who said it gave you the same damage value as basically 5 normal 2 shots. I'm probably mistaken on that, but... I don't know if that would work for the light bowgun, just because... Does that feel too much like the bow? Although, the bow only gets a piercing shot with the... Yeah, it only has the Wyvern, or the Dragon Piercer for a piercing shot, but then again, that makes the 2 seem kind of too close, doesn't it? In a way, doesn't it? I'm trying to think of something new, but all I keep flipping to are things that have already been done. Well, this is where the shield does come in handy, but... Uh-oh. Yeah, I thought we were going to get... Ooh! Shield saved us from at least the second nip. I'm just trying to think of what in line with a gun would work. Come on, think. Unload into her there. There we go. Just do we... Oh yeah, we already have both wings broken. That was actually pretty easy to do. Ooh, quick roll out of that. And we can tank those hits pretty nice and easily. Oh, and she's out of her enrage. Snag the stone. Ow. That was probably the wrong one to go off of. There we go. And a couple of those, and she's back into the wall. I really don't know what to give the light bowgun now that I look at it. It's the problem of I don't want to take away from one of the other weapons, or just like steal from it. But also, what options would still be open considering all the ground that's already been covered? Uh-oh. I shouldn't be saying uh-oh, I mean, we do have the temporal mantle on. I'm really drawing a blank here. Well, not a blank, but completely new concept. I don't know what else you could really do. Because I don't want to take away one of the shots from the heavy bowgun, although that might be the best option. Make the heavy bowguns more like your snipers, and your light bowguns have the Wyvern Heart with the SMG. Well, I didn't even use this on the last Rathian. I guess we'll use it here. There we go. That's some nice damage. Ooh. Ooh, glad we got the shield on this. Ooh, we actually stopped her little dive mid-air. Or mid-dive. She was already in mid-air, come on. I know my brain's working kind of 3 angles at once here, but I can keep some track of it. Nope. Yeah, we really basically just become a gyroscope on her. As much as she flips around and moves and that, we just stay in one place and... Well, no, she's still not enraged. I don't know how we didn't get hit by that, because I think she actually moved our character along there. Oh, shoot. That took a little bit... I still feel like we should have gotten that proc off for the strike with the claw, but... whatever. And in she goes. Yeah, nothing is really coming to mind for what would be a completely unique thing to give the light bowgun. Oh, we actually got her using the clutch claw attack. That might be a nice kill screen. Well, if you guys have any ideas, be sure to leave them in the comments, because I'm sure anybody who's kind of played the light bowgun, they might have had fun with the sticky mode for going after Safi a bit. But beyond that, there's not enough of a unique factor to it where I feel it really needs something. Wyvern Blasts, they don't work actually as you're trying to use them. Like, I mean by that, you choose to load the special ammo into the heavy bowgun and choose when you're going to fire off and really unload with that. For the Worm Stake or the Dragon Piercer, everything is basically you're attacking. The Wyvern Blast is more like you just kind of set it down and you have to really coordinate the monsters to making use of it. And that can actually work negatively because that means the monster has to leave where your teammates are if you're multiplayer for it. So it's a hard balance. It might be something where you use the slinger ammo to enhance the Wyvern Blast and it fires just a very powerful normal shot that does like 200 damage or 300 damage or something. I don't know exact specifics, but I'm just trying to toss ideas out to see what you guys think might be a good inclusion to try to help the poor light bowgun out and give it a little bit more oomph to match up with the other weapons. There are probably also a number of weapons that don't exactly have that one super special attack, but I just, speaking from experience as a gunner right now, I've played bows, heavy bowguns, and light bowguns now, so that's just kind of my opinions and ideas on it there. We'll just get a nice pose with that. There we go. I quite like that one. So that was just a little look at my differences between the heavy and light bow guns. Try to spark discussion and see what could we do to improve a weapon that does feel like it needs a little extra hand. I hope you guys do watch this and have some ideas in the comments below, and let's see what we can kind of come up with. Who knows, with what modding is doing for Monster Hunter World, we may even come to figure out something that could be included as a mod to help that out. Until the next time I see you guys, though, thank you for joining me on this special Monster Hunter episode, and I'll see you in the next video. Please remember, as always, take care, stay alive, and happy hunting.